everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm here with none other than Miss Allison Francis Bartsdale. Uh,
Hi.
say hi again.
Hello, everyone. So excited to be here with Miss Denise.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We're so excited to have you. And, just before we got on, we started talking about meditation, which is my thing. And I was introduced to meditation by my senior director. We started off with Wayne Dyer. And I remember when I heard that, I was like, okay, what's wrong with her? But I didn't realize that and that was actually a way to align my body. And I am forever grateful to her for what she taught me. And you were saying that you do the Deepak Chopra ones.
Yes, I right now the app that I have is the Deepak Chopra, and I really like it because there's a lot of variety within the app. I had already purchased some of what started out as a free meditation that he had done with Oprah, and he's partnered with other people now. And so I really do enjoy the because you can get a series or you could get a one-off for any kind of particular issue that you're dealing with. And yesterday I did one on joy, and that was one of my favorite subjects.
Ooh, tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, it's really a matter about being centered in yourself and understanding that your joy comes from within. And so it's just a matter, really, in so many ways. We're told in our meditations and in the different things that we pick up, a lot of the information is the same, but it hits you when you need to hit it, when you need to receive it. So that's what's really nice.
Yeah, and joy I find is one of the higher frequency. I know it's love, joy, and gratitude. And when you feel those, you are able to just your electromagnetic field, which is all around you, just sends out really good vibes and you connect to all the right people.
Interestingly enough, when I first got my coaching certification, I was going to coach on joy, and the company was called More Joy Now. What I found out though is that it's sometimes hard to sell joy because people feel like they shouldn't ask for it or they don't want to ask for it. And I decided that I needed to have something a little bit more concrete, at least to start. But you never know, I might be coming back with my joy.
Yeah, there is a market for that actually. There's so many people who want joy, peace, and harmony in their life.
Especially now after all of the distractions and the health concerns that we've all had. There's been a lot of reasons why we now want to return to joy.
Yeah, absolutely. And in addition with love, it can help to remove that fear frequency that a lot of people have been living in for the last maybe year and a half, maybe 18 months.
Yeah, we definitely need to move past the fear because that's what's holding us back. That's the inhibitor, and we have to embrace our faith more so. And it's not necessarily, people may believe in different things. I believe in God and a more of a Christian approach, but regardless of how you approach this idea of spirituality, I feel like there's something there that you have to believe in that's bigger than yourself,
I believe that
an
too.
anchor.
Yeah, I believe, it's funny because I grew up believing, in God, and I still do believe in God, but then there are people who don't call God, they call it source,
Universe.
universe.
Mhm.
Yeah, everybody is different, but I think for the most part, many of us are speaking about the same being.
Yeah, and that's what we have to get to. We have to start to understand that there's that common ground and that we shouldn't get caught up in the little minor details that are different, but focus on the core. So,
Yes, exactly. So, so everyone who's watching, I want to just introduce Allison again. She's with Delaware County and she's here to help everyone who wants more money, more of that green stuff, or more zeros in their bank account. Or maybe you're a business owner and you're looking for some incentives to hire some people. So, why don't we get started off with
mhm.
talking about the business that you owned prior to going to Delaware County, Rise Leadership, and then can you let me know why you decided to move to Delaware County?
Yeah. Well, I'm in Delaware County, and I haven't actually moved, but I definitely did go from having my business be my primary thing, Rise Leadership, which was focusing on coaching leadership coaching specifically.
Hmm.
And during the pandemic, things happened where customers just weren't coming the same way, and a lot of people, I was switching my platform in terms of coaching to being on Zoom, but then everybody became very zoomed out. They didn't want to go for another session, one more time with somebody, and I understood that. And just kind of looking at the situation, and there were other life changes. My son is graduating from high school, so I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to have the job that allows me to be at home and be as flexible anymore. And I was actually looking for something accidentally and came across the position that I now have. So I'm now working for the County of Delaware as I'm sorry, yeah, well, Delaware County. I'll
Delaware
say
County,
Delaware County
yes.
because I don't want people to get confused with Delaware, the state. I work here in the county, and my position is employer engagement manager. So within the workforce development system, I'm working with employers to let them know about the opportunities that are available for them. There's a lot of free resources that people don't know about, and we were like, we don't want to be the best kept secret. We want people to know about these things because also the way government works, when you have money that's available, you really want to push it out and make sure it gets used for the purposes designed, because that's how you get more money coming in. You have to use your budget completely, not save money. It's not like, your personal economics. In your personal economics, you might want to do something differently, but we want everyone to take advantage of all of the resources that are available and use them up, because there's going to be more coming in future years, and then that demonstrates the need that there's been a lot of employers who need help with recruitment and hiring. Oh, we need to have more programs that work with that, and so the money kind of gets filtered into that purpose. So I took the position because at one, it was like, wow, my business is not as busy, and also it sounded like something like fun for me to do. And I do, because I get to be Santa Claus, all of the time. I'm kind of coming around, and now that we understand that everybody doesn't look the same, I'm the new look of Santa Claus. African American woman, I'm working on the belly, trying to make it smaller, not larger, you know. But that's my thing. I'm out there sort of showing that there are opportunities that people need to take advantage of.
Oh, that is awesome. I like the whole Santa Claus deal because you know what? Everybody can use some more green stuff. And Santa Claus is associated with gift giving, and you are the person. When Santa Claus comes around, people get excited.
That's right. Definitely a happy character. No, I don't know of anybody who doesn't want to see Santa Claus or see what Santa Claus has left. So now, of course, it's not as easy as just putting out your hand. There are, things that you have to go through. You have to sign up and get connected to our system. You have to let me know that you're out there, or identify that you're out there by just logging onto the system and registering. But it really isn't that complicated. And we also are always open to knowing, like, well, what do people need? I'm going to be taking and having some more visits one on one with employers to say, what's important to you? What do you need? What are the services that, if you're not able to or want to take advantage of some of the services that we're currently offering, what would it look like if there were something that you would really want? What is that? So we're in that
Mm.
process of identifying that.
Okay. So tell me, before we even jump into anything really, what would be your intention for today with this podcast?
So my goal is really to get the word out. Like I said, we are kind of a best kept secret. People don't know how the system works. And it's really not that complicated. So I want people to sort of understand more clearly how it does work. If you want resources, usually federal programs are trickled down through states, and then states through counties.
Hmm.
And so as long as you're connected to your county, and then generally the easy way to go for everybody is there's something called PA Career Link, but there's a career link all over the country, just in the US right now. If you connect to those career links, that taps you into those resources that are available. So I wanted to make sure that people know about it, and also know how easy it is to tap in. And we provide sources. I don't know about every county, but in
Hmm.
Delaware County, if it's kind of complicated or hard for you, then people could call me and I can tell them and put them in touch with someone who's going to help them and navigate it more easily. So those are what I really wanted to do. I want people to know what's available and let them know how to use it.
Okay, so give me an example of one of the resources that you could provide for me as an employer.
So with employers, one of the things that we do that's like really popular right now, I don't know if you've heard, but there is a labor shortage out there. So
Really?
people are having a hard time finding people to work for them. And so, people are using services that like, ZipRecruiter and Indeed and all of those things. And I never say don't use them. I think you should use everything that you think you want to use, but I know that those services cost, whereas I know posting on CareerLink does not. So that's one of the things. You can post jobs. You can post it on your own if you feel like, oh, I know how to do this. I know what I want to do. It prompts you as to what things, what information it needs. Certainly, title of the job and where the job is going to be and
Mm-hmm.
salary and those kinds of things. And you have a way to source for the resumes and how you want them, how you want people. Do you want people to apply directly like on your job website, that you can take them to your website and have them do that? But that's a service that's like right available, free job posting. You can post as many jobs as you would like. The only caveat is that those jobs have to be actually wage jobs. They can't be 1099 positions for those, because it's using the unemployment sort of funding. So it has to be a job that would actually, if the person were laid off, they would need to be able to return to um, unemployment. So that's the only thing. But that's a choice you make, because you don't have to. I know I've had lots of jobs, some that are independent. I've created my own jobs. So that's sort of a sensitivity to you. But we will allow employers to post any job that's a W-2 job.
Okay, so if I say, for example, if I'm an employer, I own a dress shop, I could post a job for free at the career link. I wouldn't have to pay Indeed. I wouldn't have to pay Craigslist.
Yeah.
And would now when I do that, are there any monies that I'm entitled to? Let's say that I do employ someone or hire someone from the.
Well, there was a program. Now I have to say, and I know we were going to talk earlier, and we weren't able to. There is a program that expires September 30th, but that's it expires September 30th. But let me say that the program will come back. I'm not sure if it's going to come back for the holiday hiring season, or it might not come back till next year. But in particular, there's $250,000 right now that, sad to say, is not really being used, because we needed people who were ready to hire. It's called the back to work bonus, and the whole point of it is to give employers money that they can use to incentivize the new hires, and that way they would be able to give them up to $250 as a sign-on bonus. But they do need to be hired by September 30th. Then they need to work 30 days, because that was kind of the goal, get them back to work and working.
Ah,
But there's still time. I mean, if somebody said, hey, I'm going to do that, I'm going to take advantage. And I've actually encouraged people who are looking for jobs, if you're working with an employer in Delaware County, and they want to hire you, you can tell them, hey, why don't you tap into the back to work bonus? And that way, it's a win-win, because the employer doesn't get anything, except they get the ability to incentivize their worker. And everybody likes to feel happy, because if they don't hire them, the person doesn't get the bonus. And it's also great because once they have worked, the money that you just send us, the records that you hired this person,
mm-hmm.
and that you paid them, and then you will get reimbursed. Now, one of the things that was a challenge is that we do try to get our employers to give people what we call a life sustaining wage, which is enough that they can live off of.
Of
And it's
course.
really not an issue so much. It's basically $15 an hour. And that's what we were hoping for the employers to do, to hire people at a rate of $15 an hour. And quite frankly, now in terms of what's going on, I'm seeing some rates even higher than that because people are just looking for somebody. So that's
Yeah,
that.
I
So that
think
was our bonus.
what did you say? Sorry.
That was the bonus that we have, and it is, like I said, it's still available, but you got to hurry. You got to get tap into that now. But there, it's going to come back, but probably a little bit differently. So we'll see.
Okay. And I think this is the perfect time for people to look for jobs because you have a little more power with negotiating what you want your salary to be like.
This is the perfect time to be able to get in there because, get in before the rush. I definitely recommend that people are, taking advantage of the opportunities and they have their pick and their choice of whatever is out there that they can go for because at a certain point, more people are going to need to go back to work. And I mean, I'm not sure how they're living. One of the things that we're trying to see is whether or not there's going to be an uptick in people applying for jobs because there was $35,000 that $35 million that was just recently ended in terms of the pandemic insurance. So all of that money that people were getting ended September 4th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so now there's like a lot less money out there. And what I wanted to let people know too, if they were ever posting jobs, the people that you're contacting, the people in our database are those people who have really requested unemployment insurance. So, in order as a requirement, really, to be able to apply for unemployment, you have to register with Career Links, and so that's the base, and so that's why also our base is very diverse. So, anybody can be on unemployment. Could be a CEO who was recently let go. It could be someone else, and people are going to apply for unemployment if they've worked, for a significant period of time and they're eligible for it. A lot of times, I think we encourage people apply anyhow, even if you're not eligible. And so that's the one thing, but that's a huge and diverse database of potential, people who could fill the positions that you have available.
Yeah, and I know some employers who are currently looking for people, and it would be if they could get those people in before maybe this week or
Mhm.
magically someone would apply, then they could get those bonuses to the employees, but also they could get to use your database, which is free, right? At Career Link.
Yeah, you have to like you're able to search through the database, but it has to be kind of related to what you're posting and what you're looking. I think you have to have posted a job in order to be able to look into, because it's not just like mining it. There are some restrictions because sometimes there are companies that are third party, and they're sourcing, and they're able to post as well, and they're able to access. But yes, if you have put a job in, you can
Hmm.
look and see, who's responding to your roles. You can look and see, what's out there. You can search on certain parameters as well. And yes, there's no cost to be able to look into the database to use it.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Now, if there was one thing that you wanted people to know from our chat today, what else would what's another thing that you want people to know or be aware of?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that since I'm a leadership coach, I really like to encourage people to be the leader, to live your life, lead your life, and help others, so that there's sort of a give and take and a flow. So I'm definitely encouraging people to really sort of step out there and be able to find ways that they can lead. And I want to remind people, especially if they're looking for jobs, that you can use all of what you've done, especially in today's environment, volunteer work, anything else that you've done that was significant or important. As long as you take the lead in your life, you can direct it in the path that you want to go.
Hmm. And you can also even reinvent yourself.
You can. I mean, we heard a very popular word during the pandemic, pivot. I would say I pivoted. I pivoted my business from, the way I was doing it to now I do it sort of as a side gig, and that's a little bit of what I'm doing. And yeah, sometimes you just have to be able to turn. And I like the word pivot because it makes me think of dance as well. And it's more graceful. You're just sort of turning. It's not like a hard stop. It's a turn.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? I think too, with everybody pivoting and, employers trying to find people, I think they might be a little more open to having entry level people who are willing to pivot, maybe start out in positions that they not necessarily are qualified for.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. I wasn't even thinking about talking about it, but one of the things that also is available at Career Links is an opportunity. Maybe you have been let go and you're like, you know what? I'm not doing that job anymore. We're seeing that a lot in restaurants. It seems like people who were in the restaurant business aren't really wanting to return to the restaurant business. But through CareerLink, if you're on the job seeker side, then it's quite possible for you to look into training. So you can look into ways that you can reskill. We offer a lot of certificate programs. So they're not college degrees that you're going to get because we want something that's fast and quick. So you have an opportunity to look through a whole range of training programs and little certificates that you can get that can make you skilled and qualified for a new career. And not to mention that you can start out in a program and then go, you can even get into like an apprenticeship program and then move beyond that and go further. So yeah, it's great that you did suggest that. There's definitely a lot of opportunities, and it's not just in terms of getting your next job. It really is career planning.
Mm. So tell me some, give me an example of some of the certificates that people could perhaps get.
Well, I didn't totally prepare, but I do know that like one of the ones that's been popular because we're talking about supply shortages and things like that. People, especially we're seeing women go for a CDL license. So we're seeing that. I know that we're seeing people who are, what is it called? A phlebotomist? Is it phlebotomy? It's where you are a person who's learning how to take blood from other
Phlebotomist,
people.
yes.
So a phlebotomist. So that's one of the you can get a certificate in that. There's a lot of certificates available, sort of in healthcare related fields. Well, and then there's always the traditional apprenticeships, in terms of plumbing, carpentry, those kinds
Oh,
of things. So those are options as well. But there are also computer certificates. I actually haven't looked
no,
through
I
the list
understand. I
because
kind of caught you off guard.
I'm
Yes.
normally I'm on the employer side. So I'm once what happens is we send people who are getting them trained, and then they are sending them back to the employer, and then I'm talking to the employer to find out, what do you want, what do you need, and then that's how they mix in the middle. But it is important to know that the workforce development system does include two components. It's the
Hmm.
job seeker side and the employer side. And we've recently changed our website to be able to reflect that as well. So when you go onto our first page on the website, you're able to make a choice, like, are you a job seeker or are you an employer? And then that way you'll determine what are the services that are best appropriate for you.
Okay. So just to clarify, because I'm still a little bit fuzzy with your services in reference to employers.
Mhm.
So let's say I am an employer and I come in and I seek you out after this podcast.
Mhm.
And what I wanted to know, what services will you offer me that can help my business to grow, or perhaps just help me to be better?
Well, of course, I would want to know a little bit more about your business. And I told you, we would definitely help you if you're looking to hire. We would help you with posting jobs. We would also help you with or recruitment. Let's say you wanted to be able to sort of screen some people, and you didn't want to do it at your place of business. You wanted to have some place neutral to do it. And also, you wanted to have some place where you would actually get additional people that you weren't even planning to meet, because our career link offices are open. So we can host a recruitment session where you can say, we had one today for a company called Community Interactions, where you
Heard of them?
can, yeah, they're in the really human services field. But one of the things that you could do is you could say, okay, I want to do it. I want to have a recruitment session, let's say from 11 to 1. And then we'd say, great. And then we also will promote your event that you're going to do this. We have, you know, newsletters that we use to help get the word out as to what's happening. We have a job seeker newsletter and an employer newsletter. And of course, the information is going to be, you know, targeted to that particular audience, whichever the two we're talking about. So we'll help them with that. We help them with also advertising things on our social media. So that's another service that we'll do, you know, at no cost. And that's just extra hands. That's just extra eyes on your information. We also will do a candidate matching. Like if you said, I'm looking for someone who meets these particular
Hmm.
categories, and we can set the parameters to be able to attract those particular parameters that you've already mentioned. There's something that they have in Pennsylvania called Rapid Hire Portal. And that is a service that is actually, even though most of our services are county bound,
Hmm.
that because it's like a high need for hiring, and let's say the person is kind of regionally diverse, they can use the Rapid Hire Portal that Pennsylvania has as a service. We have the incentives. You know, I told you about the 250 back to work bonus,
Yes.
but over time, there are additional hiring incentives that we have that we can pay businesses. Like if you're especially going to tap into maybe a special population, maybe if you're going to tap into hiring someone who maybe has formerly been incarcerated or had some you know, challenge in life, and that they've overcome that challenge, or maybe they're a person with a disability, there are some incentives for hiring people that are some maybe sometimes harder to employ, but good employees. we have
Hmm.
we have tax credits that are available. And then on the training side, you know, we offer training. We offer on the job training program. So if you want somebody who's at your place of business, that we can help train, and you can give us some of the curriculum as to what they need to know, then that's done. And so these people are really primed and ready to work specifically for your company. We do have apprenticeships. Now, those are a little bit more intense because the apprenticeship is generally a 2 year process, and the person has to gain certain um, credentials along the way.
Uh-huh.
But we are looking for people to help us in building those apprenticeships. We have programs to help with layoff. We have the layoff aversion program, whereby if you know, let's say the plant is moving or moving to a different area, then we find out that there's going to be a lot of people that might potentially be displaced. Then way before, you know, packages are given or whatever, the state can go in and provide assistance to that place of employment and look for ways to relocate. There's also ways where if there's a need maybe to reduce the staffing, several companies can agree together, if they are hiring maybe manufacturers doing similar things, that they can share a pool. And so whereas the person doesn't have to be laid off for like all 5 days, maybe they'll be laid off for 2 days, and then they can work somewhere else so that they have a shared labor pool. So those are some services that are really helpful to know. I told you about the social posting, and the only other thing is that we're really looking to build some more of them, industry partnerships.
Hmm.
So that is when we have, you know, people of the same industry wanting to work together to advance the industry in total. Right now in Delaware County and in our area, in our region, I should say, there's a manufacturing industry um, partnership. There is a healthcare industry partnership, and there's also a technology industry partnership, and there could be more. We're looking right now, we're talking about, perhaps because of the issues with the supply chain being so limited, maybe we can get people together who are all going to be experiencing, you know, retail is going to have an issue, to maybe come together and form an industry partnership. And then that also allows to form an apprenticeship if necessary, to be able to kind of get that pipeline full. So it's not
Hmm.
just, here's some people today. We're trying to be forward thinking. We're trying to think of today. and tomorrow, and maybe even a few years down the road. So that's kind of where it all comes in. We do have a lot of services that people just need to know about. I did not know about these things when before I came in, and that's
Hmm.
why I said, it's kind of the best kept secret. But we don't want to be a secret. We don't
You
want to
want
be
to
a
know,
secret.
want people to know about what you have.
Exactly. Exactly.
I have another question. Tell me
Mhm.
about the tax credit. So, when I hear tax credit, immediately I think, so you mean I hire someone, I pay them $30,000 a year? What portion of that do I get as a tax credit?
Actually, there is a tax credit, and I don't have all of the details
Mhm.
on per company. It has to do with where you are, where you're located, and then like the percentage. But the tax credits are definitely there, and that's even a federal tax credit. That is definitely something that I can let you know. Oh, did I mention that I've been doing this job for 4 months?
No, you are fine. And I know I'm just, as we're talking, and guys,
You're
forgive
hearing
us.
things.
She's new at the job and she's doing a fantastic job, but I'm thinking of these questions and they're just coming and I have to
They're coming.
ask.
No, that's great. That's great. No, I know that I don't know the dollar amounts that are available, but I do know that they are there. And then some of them are tax credits based on your hiring. If you've
Hmm.
hired someone that is considered sometimes a little bit harder to employ.
Employ. Yeah, you know what? Because there are people who have been to prison, let's just say
Mhm,
harder to employ,
mhm.
and they have turned their life around, or maybe they went to prison for something that maybe if they had gotten another judge, they would not have gone to prison for.
No, yeah, that's true.
So it's a way to give back to the community and give people a second chance, and you get incentivized for that. I think of, and this is probably way off base, but Barry White, if you remember him, that singer, he
Yeah.
had gone to jail for stealing tires.
Are you kidding me? I did not
Yes,
know that. I did not know that.
yes. So you never know. People can always reinvent themselves anytime they change their self-image. So definitely.
All right, let me tell you a little bit more. There are some research and development tax credits. So, based on whatever technology that you're developing, there's
Hmm.
some mixed use development tax credits related to the landing that you're using. There's educational tax credits. Let's see here. There's new job tax credits. So there's a number of different credits, and one of the things that I would do is I would be putting you in the direction of where you need to go,
Hmm.
and then you can kind of go from there in terms of exploring the specific areas that are most of interest to you. But I also wanted to point out when you are connected through our career, our work development system, one of the things also is that you will find out about things that come up, like there was money during the pandemic, the chirp money, and now there is some money available if someone has had a disaster as a result of the recent storms and the tornado. There's money that you can tap into for that, and that is something that is available as well. And I think there's like a limited time. I mean, it's not our grant. These are SBA grants,
Hmm.
but we know about them, and so sometimes if you're in the system, then you'll gain access to the emails to know about what's happening. So yeah, so definitely there is some money. So if people are experiencing some challenges from the recent disaster, there is disaster assistance for
Wow.
businesses and residents.
Wow. For businesses and residents?
In Pennsylvania because of the recent hurricane and tornado that affected everyone from Hurricane Ida. So if you're experiencing any challenges that have developed as a result of Hurricane Ida, you can also, and it's not just here in Pennsylvania. Also, it's acknowledging that there were some issues in New Jersey and Delaware, but we're considered like on that main path.
The
And
tri-state area kind of, yeah.
exactly. So definitely, if you want to do that. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you can do this. There's a QR code that
Ooh.
is available. that someone could get some resources if somebody wanted to click on that.
You know what? If you send that to me, I can post that in a few of the pages that
Hmm.
I'm a part of, groups that I'm a part of, and they're
Hmm.
business owners there.
Yeah, well, that's great. That is good to know. So, and this came out, like I said, I have access to it because of a program that I'm doing where I'm going to be on the loose looking to interview employers as far as like what they need, what's going on, what services they're using. But this, because of that, I've got access to this. So this is funding through the SBA,
Hmm.
so the Small Business Administration.
So how would, as if I were a employer, how would I be able to get an interview with you?
Well, it would be as simple as contacting me. One of the things that I do use a lot is LinkedIn. And I have my full name, Allison Francis Barksdale, that will should separate me from everybody else with a similar name because that's a lot of name. I get it. So that's definitely one way to reach me. And then it's also possible. I think the easiest email address for me to offer is the one that's related to my business, but it's all me, just because it's easiest to remember.
Hmm.
Allison at impactwithrise.com. Um, but if you were ever to click on my page on LinkedIn, you would see that there's additional contact information. It's just that if you have a government email, I'll say it, but it's a little hard to remember. Yeah, that's good because my government email is barksdale.delaware.pa.us. It's a little hard.
We'll
This
put that.
one's
We'll post that in the chat. We'll
okay.
post that after.
Okay, because it's just, I know myself. It's just a little complicated there. But we got to tick off all the boxes. It says, county, Delaware, Pennsylvania, USA. Got to get all that in there. But it's easier just to remember Impact with Rise. And I mean, that's really kind of what I'm about because I'm helping businesses rise as well. I
Yeah.
want people, individuals, to be able to rise to the highest level that they can, and I want businesses to be able to thrive because really that's what workforce development is about. At the end of the day, we're connecting job seekers and employers, but the reason we're connecting them is that we want them to be able to thrive, and we want to be able to not just have businesses that thrive, communities that thrive.
Hmm. 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 I think what I'm most impressed by is just so many resources for employers. S- Uh,
Good, yay, I'm doing my job.
yeah. Yeah. I've heard so many employers say we are trying to find people, but they don't, nobody wants to work. And I get it. I get it. Maybe you were working for a long time and you're just like, I need a break.
Yeah. And I understand too, this isn't over. We're not really knowing what stage we're in this whole, coronavirus situation. But, I guess we just have to remember again to keep the faith and not let the fear get in our way to keep us from doing, what we want to do. I don't think we want to be reckless, but I think that we want to make sure that we don't kind of keep from living. We
Hmm.
definitely need to live like living life with you.
Exactly. And I'm back to it again. You can basically, if you're an employee or a job seeker, you have the baton. You can basically negotiate what you think your value is, and all you have to do is over deliver.
Right. There are, this is the market. This is the best time for you. And I think also people don't think about it. There are a lot of resources that they have. So we'll help you at Career Links, but also like go to your universities and look at what hiring services that they have if you're a job seeker. You can't use that if you're an employer, but you have to tap into all of the things that are out there. And like I said, don't forget or discount anything that you've done, even if you weren't paid for it. If you got experience in it, if you learned something, if you gained something from it, then it's good to include.
Yeah. And then as an employer, you make, you go into the database, you have all these people who are really looking for you. And it's almost like you get to cherry pick who you want to work with.
And what you want to do is you'll be able to limit it according to like the parameters of distance, how far, you're interested. But nowadays that there are jobs that are remote,
Remote.
they
Oh,
can be
yeah.
anywhere. So, but
Exactly.
there are a lot of people that are in the database, and it's important. Also, I think that they get contacted, that they get reminded that, hey, it's time to get back to work.
Yeah, people probably are home now and they're like, oh, it's time to go. And like you said, get back to work. So employers, you have with the PA career link, you have a complete database. And then what if you gave someone a chance and that person turned out to be one of the best decisions you ever made? One of the best business decisions you ever made. So, Allison Francis Barksdale is a woman you want to find. And she's at the PA Career Link. I'm going to post her information after we're done with this podcast, because I think y'all need to meet her. She will help you to fill some of those positions you have and help your people to get some money and you to get some tax credits, depending on the field that you're in.
Mhm. I would love to talk to people. I want to know more about what people are looking for, what people need, and what they think we can do to provide better or greater services for them. But it's an exciting time, for me as far as I'm concerned, because like I said, I'm like giving out things. I'm like, let's see what we can offer,
Santa
and
Claus.
there you go. That's right.
uh,
Modern Santa Claus.
Yes. So was there anything we forgot to discuss? Because I know we kind of like really got into this topic today, and I want to make sure that people know about you. I would love to have you on again, because I think if people are familiar with you and what you offer and they hear it over and over, then they'll be able to, know, like, trust you, and of course, reach out.
Well, I will come back anytime because talking with you is a great pleasure. And we can
Thank
talk
you.
about anything. We can talk about the law of attraction. We can talk about meditation. We can talk about mudras, even. I'm like, all different ways things are going on there. I think the only thing that I really wanted to do, and at some point, we're going to have a video that's going to be out where you guys will also sort of see it coming to life. But I mean, I just want to hone in the point to get these services, to get any of this. And really, to get anywhere in life, you need to be networked. And in this case, get connected. So
Mhm.
that's what I want to impart to everyone. Check us out, get connected, and then we can definitely do more.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Guys, if you had any questions, please go ahead and you can post them and we'll get back to you with the answers individually, all right? Oh, Miss Allison Francis Barksdale, we are so grateful to have you at Living Life with Denise, have you to do this podcast with you, and we know that people are going to start seeking you out.
I hope so. Thank you. I really enjoyed talking to you, and call me. I'll come back anytime.
Awesome,
Okay.
awesome.
All right. Take
Guys,
care.
it was an amazing session. I love you all. And of course, my entire goal is to create value for you. Reach out if you have any questions. Love you all. Bye bye.
Bye. You're a beautiful spirit.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Let's see.